Hi, I'm Velamula Sahib. Here I'm going to explain COVID-19 forecasting deep learning ensembles. And first, I imported libraries like Pandas, Num, MATLAB, and some of the libraries I've used in this. And I imported JSON, OS, random, and warning. And Num, Panda, SBORN, Transflow, SQL, and linear models I've used in this. And here I given the configuration of random shifts like the data path, and here I have been selected the countries, like some countries I have been like the US, India, Brazil, United States, German, France, Italy, South Korea, Japan, everything. And here I inserted like the model date and model end date and horizon date, look back dates, epochs, batch size, patients, and everything I have given you. Here I loaded the data sets to get the allocation of data is missing required columns. And here we can see the data loading the function, like given the data file to the run the data downloaded file failed from the all tested sources. Here we can see the data of data range and data raw sets of shapes and everything. And here the data preparation I did like the cases and per million and smooth per million and death and vaccinated and age with the age limit and hospital beds per thousands. And here the country filtering helper I use it to get the data exactly data frames. And here the configuration on future cleaning helper I use it to get the columns and the cases of death cases and per millions in this. And here the rolling of a future helper I use it to get the day given the days, like 7 days average days and 14 average days, to grade to give the exactly days of in that like how many COVID cases have been and how many vaccinated and how many recovered. And again I here use it to get the forecast target helper to get like the shift the label to forward, so each row can predict the future dates and it's not itself. And here I use it, and again I added like given cleaning and the features of engineering functions to get the exact columns and normalizing the scrolling and everything. And here again I inserted a futures columns based on like the preparation of country frameworks to get the raw data. Here we can see the Brazil like the data like preparation prepared data sets of shapes and future count. And here the data exploration I have given to get the summarized series of false allegation data, like the country basis country wise, like we can see the allegation of observation and first date last date and means both and cases of volume and max of the cases volume. Here can we can see, and here we can see the smooth COVID cases of per million during activation of report period. Like 8,000 is the highest, like in 2022, 2022 August 5th, August month. And again I here like here core columns I use it to get the cases depth strength and everything, and while using the heat map like correlation map, future correlation with the future cases of counts, like which is like the red is look like it's a positive, it's negative. So new cases of billion is minus 1.0. Here we can see the everything the data, and here the sequences data like sudden like windows and everything I was imported to keep enough the more metadata to trace the every prediction back to the country and the dates exactly. Like this Brazil, like we can see the sequence tracer and delta targeted we given. And here the chronicle like split function to make of a X test and Y test train between the data to sequences data like MATLAB, ROS, and true or false like mask. We can see the sequence of calling like extend scale and avoid extend X valuation and X tested. Like we will take the testing and training the data in this, like the country wise how many validations and how many tests and how many train. And here I used the baseline models like data reconstruction helper to get the proper data. They are Android raw prediction data conversation I used, and base mountain base baseline helper I used. And here I did the data extraction like to the deep models learning the part of the movement baselines to get the wrong. and tested the data and validation of data prediction. I use it. Again, the deep learning models like SLMT model definition I use it, given the drops and SLMT dropouts and denses everything. And here I use it the transflow includer block to try like attention of multi head of attentions and the to forward. And here the formal data function to build the transfer model of the model forecasting like exact values numbers. And here the training the functions like x train y train x value training is 80% the x train like with the batch sizes we given x train and y train. Here we can see the input of sizes like multiple head of uh, average instances at our output. And here the we can see the historical trend model data sets. And I did the evaluation like the residual SLMT and transflow uh, hybrid calibration helper I use it to get the exact hybrid weight and scrolls everything. They like the validation of selected hybrid deep weighted and validation of hidden. Yeah, evaluation of metric helper I use it to get the stress check high cases of prediction without making any this primary metric. And here the decretional accuracy helper also I took to get the exactly accurate value. And here the model evaluation function I use it like y true value and y prediction raw and meta and everything to get the exact name, modeled RMS of R2 course and spare like everything to get exactly data number with a number how many deaths and how many uh, recovered, how many vaccinated. We can see the data metrics frames here. Again, like then I use deep learning names like reducible SLMT, reducible of transflow, deep reducible assemble, and celebrated deep hybrided. I use it to import the exactly summer data frames. Here we can say like data frames have been tested like allocated ended the data forecasting data targeted data. Here we can see the an allocation of future like figure of access of multiple data sets like to get the modern compression by the RMS and RMS is skill model. We can see the graph here like RMS is like producer baselines here. And we can see the graph like maximum of like here I used the actual value versus prediction value to get the exact directive future cases of per million transflow. We can see this map. And here I used like forecasting traces of United States like 14 days of head of cases per million case. We can see the graph like actual value actual and residential transformer in 2211 like forecasting date is a high. And here the prediction we did like the errors and absolute errors and prediction residential and residual distribution and mean absolute error by the countries. Here I did. And here the figure of access of number of LSMT trained crew and transfer training curve. We can see the validation and train everything epoches like yeah, how much like in this 0.200 and in this like 0.5 mile epoches we got like and here is the radio forecasting demo. Like I imported the demo frameworks in the values of errors and it's not enough to history. And demo model as like selection I did to get the helper of the current value transfer model like the data from which movement of raw I like the deep hybrided and weight and everything like a movement based. Like here we can see the model name I given and more like random first row second transfer row and deep row. And we can see and again I took like the demo flood helper here to get the build forecasting of momentum. And here demo of output matters like format of forecasting I use it to get exactly data prediction of function like the models of straight and model like valuation of prediction we are using. And block forms and everything and I use it in this like here the like given that metal of code and like the printing of the data like here uh, hacking a face-to-face deployment I use it to create space of depth path. And here the space rand remedy like COVID forecasting of SK radio file function I use it like noticing the like space of dependence and pandas, num, and everything have been used like with the codes of like country wises like case averages and column based features like average days how many COVID cases have been death and how many recovered and how many is been stable now like total average of overall country have been taken in this to get the exactly value numbers of rows and columns and to check the hospital beds also the thousand beds of how many COVID cases have been by peoples and how many beds are available in the hospitality I have taken and here the deploy to space the TKR I use it to get the exactly values and from the validation spaces and value of like certain messages like default repo and everything we can see to get the exactly token repo type and space and private and exit like true or false I have used and also I like hugging faces I also I use it to get the true values like in the hospital and how many hospital now like to get the exactly beds how many is available in now present to the like the patients yeah like that I use everything thank you.